Hey girls, it's Bree.
It's Cece.
It's Angela.
And you're tuned into
For the Girls.
Today we are talking about how to deal with men who have no ambition or vision for themselves. This is a tough one. But before we jump into red flags.
We're
red
ready.
Flags
Hold on. Love it. Just go ahead. Throw it out. All right.
Sorry, Bree.
It's okay. Before we jump into it, I want to read this comment. This was about our episode, Waiting for the Ring. Nikela says, I loved this episode. It's so necessary to have these foundational conversations in the beginning, like you all stated. Found my new favorite podcast. Thanks, ladies, for the great dating advice.
Okay, Nikela.
Yes. Thank you, girl.
Love, sis. Love you.
Leaving reviews means the world to us. So if you guys have any time, which I know you do, you could pause this right now and go and do it. Leave a comment, leave a review on the podcast so that we can feature you. You can tag Instagram, get a little shout out if you want to. So we are going to jump into this. Who's reading our?
It's
is it
me.
Angela?
It's my turn.
All right, let's hear what our girl has wrote.
So our good sis wants to remain anonymous. All right. Hey, ladies, I really enjoy you guys. For starters, I would love to keep my identity anonymous. I'm 28 years old. I have to be honest, I'm just now taking dating seriously because I'm studying to become a teacher and will be graduating soon. Okay, girl, come through. We need more educators, okay?
Yes.
All right.
Right.
I have been talking to this guy for 3 months. He is a wonderful guy. He is thoughtful and consistent. We can talk to each other about anything. I have never experienced a connection like this with a man before, where I can fully be myself. Oh, this guy I'm talking to, he is in the military and will soon be leaving the military this year. The problem is he doesn't have a vision for himself on what he wants to do next after he leaves the military or the future. I always encourage him on goal setting and finding what makes him happy. I try not to tell him what to do so he can find his own way. I've always been a person who always had goals and a vision for myself. I really like this guy, but I keep coming back to the fact that he doesn't have a vision for himself. I know visions and goals are very important, even in relationships that could lead to marriage. Should I continue to talk to him, or should we go our separate ways and work on ourselves separately? Thank you, ladies, and keep giving amazing advice. It is so helpful. Oh, thank you, girl. All right. Before we unpack, I just want to say, I want to give you a round of applause for starting to become a teacher. It is one of the hardest professions in this world.
Kids.
It's a lot.
Dealing with kids.
Like,
other people's kids.
Yeah, like you got to get, especially if you like eventually get married and have kids, you have to pour all of yourself into other people's children and then come home and pour yourself into your child.
Own baby.
It's the most difficult thing to do. And I know a lot of educators are leaving the profession because of that. And the way we are treated, the way we are paid, just the way that the people making decisions for us have never stepped foot into a classroom before and never taught in front of kids. Like, there's just so many issues with education. At some point, it's going to implode, but the way that's going to get better is with amazing people who study the craft and really pour into these kids. So I really wanted to give you a round of applause for really taking that on. Bree, you studied actually to go into education at one point. So, it definitely takes a special kind of person to teach other people's children.
Sure does.
You're basically molding our society.
Yeah,
That's
which we need a lot of, because right now it's like in the hands of TikTok, and it's
tough.
It's a tragedy.
Shane, this is totally sad. Shane posted something the other day that I could not get over. I talk about it all the time. How China, they regulate what?
China.
They regulate what the algorithm on what the kids see.
Yeah.
They see science, they see math.
It's totally different. TikTok in China and TikTok in the U.S. is totally different. That's why the U.S. is trying to pass a bill through the Senate right now about banning TikTok.
It's insane because it
is messing up people's mental
Think
health.
about the effect that TikTok is going to have over the next 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Not only on people's mental health, but also our economy. If we don't have kids going into like STEM programs or being economists or, looking to be engineers or, leading us in tech and AI, like, I'm telling you, America is not a superpower it used to be. There's a lot of other countries that are well surpassing us.
Countries like that, and just taking it back to being a teacher, they treat their teachers like doctors.
Yeah.
They pay them as such, because the thing that we work with is what is going to be running this 100% in 20 years. So kudos to you, sis. You know, I already love you. I got heart. I got a special spot for you, girl. So I want to help you out. So, okay. Outside of her trying to be a teacher,
right. We digress.
Let's talk about this. So 3 months with military man. I'm gonna call him military man.
Okay, I like that.
Military man.
Eminem.
Mr. Sergeant. Sorry, he's probably not a sergeant if he's that young.
All right. Military man. 3 months. All right. How we feel? Is it too soon? Is 3 months too early to be kind of having this thought process of...
Okay, I have an opinion about this. Okay. So if she's 28, I'm going to make an assumption, because I don't know. I'm going to make an assumption that he's probably about the same age. Okay. Maybe a little bit older, maybe a little bit younger. Okay. But generally around the same age range. So assuming he's 28 as well. I'm a military brat. I come from a military background. Ooh. Both my parents were in the Air Force. My father's retired Air Force. When I started off my career, I worked for a military organization for many, many years. I know military, and I know the type of individual the military can breed. Like, so a lot of military, like a lot of different services might take a kid that's 18, 19, 20 years old, has no direction in life, teach them discipline, teach them leadership, teach them self-motivation, so that they can go off and be excellent contributors to our military organizations. So when I hear that this young military man is in the military and he's about to get out, so he's done his tour that he's chosen to do, because he can go longer should he choose. And it seems like if he doesn't have a path, maybe he shouldn't get out of the military yet, but that's his personal decision. Mm-hmm. And he's coming out and he has no vision or direction for his life. I don't really know if you can help with that, sis, because if the military can't do it for him, no shade to you, but I don't know how much you're going to be able to do for him. So Angela made a comment prior to us actually starting to film that she believes that that having a vision and a drive is kind of innately within you. Mm. I'm also a believer of that. I think that different people's motivations and their drive for themselves is something that they're born with. Now, I do believe you can continue to grow it. You can continue to stretch it. When you get in new environments, when you are exposed to different things, your motivations and your ambitions and your resiliency can grow and develop. However, I had to question this man if he doesn't already possess those after being in the military for at least 4 years, because that's the minimum length of time, so I don't know, it's not really giving like he's gonna go where you want it to go.
So I have a thought, or I guess like playing devil's advocate here is, because she's asking, is 3 months enough time, like, to give the relationship to figure out if that's what she wants. The only downfall to the relationship is that at this moment he doesn't have a vision for his life. However, he's still in the military. So I think it's different if he was out of the military and 3 months have gone by and he's still, at ground zero, has no idea what he wants to do or isn't putting forward effort. I feel like he probably isn't thinking about it too deeply because he's still where he is. He's not in an uncomfortable space where now he's being forced to figure out the next step. He's probably more of like a go with the flow type of person, it sounds like. And I don't think being a go with the flow type of person means that you're not motivated or that you don't have potential in you or that you can't be ambitious. It just might mean that for him, maybe he doesn't know how important it is for her, and maybe he's doing a bad job of like communicating and expressing that, though he's not jumping for joy and creating a vision board and like, here's my 10-year plan. I don't think that means that he isn't an overall ambitious person. It just might mean that he's just in this stage of his life where he's just trying to figure out what's next. Because I'm sure he has the finances set up to where he's like, I know I'm at least good for X amount of time. And maybe it's like, this is my time to experience the world on my own and kind of figure out what I want to do. So I think it makes sense that he doesn't necessarily have a plan right now, because why would he? He's in a routine of doing this thing and he's not out of that thing yet. I think it would be, red flag. Here, got it.
It needs to be more accessible.
Red flag. If 3 months after he leaves the military, he still has no ambition or is showing no vision for himself and doesn't have a plan. Now, what I would suggest to do, though, is to talk to him now while he's in the military and explain that for you, vision and planning is important for your life, for your future partner, for your life partner. And so if we're going to continue to intentionally date, I just want to make sure that you're aware of how I am and what I would expect out of you as the person that I'm with to like move and communicate. So like it's important to me that we come up with a plan.
Yeah.
I mean, and then see how he reacts to that.
I love that. I appreciate a good devil's advocate. Yeah. I do like that idea because, even though sometimes you may not see that someone possesses the drive that you would like to see out of them, I am a firm believer if you lead by example. Now, granted, this is the woman, so not saying that she can't be the leader in her relationship. I like the idea. I stand by the notion that the man should be the leader. But if he sees you grinding, like writing down your goals every single day, going to the gym, staying fit, do what you need to do so that you can remain in a good space to be highly motivated, self-driven. I find it difficult to believe that when someone is in an environment with another person like that they're not going to naturally take on some of those same energies and traits. Like, for instance, in the morning, when I see my husband going on the floor and doing his push-ups, like first thing in the morning, I'm like, well, damn, he's trying to stay sexy over here. I gotta do something to keep me sexy. Like, let me go ahead and sign up for Pilates today. Like, so, I think that for you, if this is a man that you say that you have not had any connection with anybody else prior to meeting this man, he's a great dude. However, this is where he lacks. Start doing things together to help both of you get in a position to start to elevate. That's a good way to, especially because it's only been 3 months, right? Yeah. And to Bree's point, he's still in this very structured organization where everything has been told of him. Yeah. Like, do this, be here at this time, wake up at this time, dress this way. So he hasn't had the opportunity to have any type of individuality or maybe even think for himself. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, so this one's tough for me. So y'all help me out. You guys know how I am and how I feel about ambition and vision. Like, that's for me, that's a foundational conversation. Like, let's not waste my time at this point type of situation. Now with them, the two things that are holding me back from saying, girl, go ahead and move on. There's two things that are holding me back. One, the military. I don't know much about it. So I don't want to be like, girl, brush that thing off to the side and keep it moving. And two, they have only been dating for 3 months. I don't know if he's been around enough since he's in the military for it to have been a full 3 months. Because 3 months is it's not a slouch amount of time. That some foundational conversations should be had within the first 3 months. Now, what makes it a little funny is you got to change that time, kind of extrapolate it, because if he's in the military, he's probably been pulled away a few times. So maybe they haven't spent the amount of time a normal couple would spend together in the first 3 months of dating. So those are my two things. However, what is still making me go, sis, like, I want to help you out because you gonna be a future teacher. It sounds like you are about yours. She has made her vision, her life, how she's moving, how she's going to move forward, a priority. So in dating, when you're dating somebody, yes, you know, when you're dating someone, there should be some priority changes. However, just in dating, especially this early, like I almost feel like you should be the second priority, and the first priority for someone should be their vision, their goals, like what they're after. What do they have it aligned? Because there's no way you're going to be able to move together as a team if one person is a little confused and lax in their vision and your vision is here. So it kind of pulls me like in several different directions because, you know, when you're studying to be a teacher, she's doing student teaching, she is studying, she's taking licensing tests. So, you know, she sounds like she's on it and she's well on her way to, you know, making that happen. And so what bothers me is I don't want her to 3 months later, like you said, be out the military, and we pulled up the red flag for him 3 months later. Now she's 6 months in with a guy who still has no vision.
Yeah.
That's my fear for her, because now your time is wasted. She's 28. So
now, granted, it's only 6 months, and she is 28.
I know. She's only 28, and it's only 6 months. However, then, you know, if you're trying to show, like you said, show him the way, be the example, expose him to new things and different things, and 3 months has passed, another 3 months is 9 months. Another 3 months is what? A year and one more buck. So it's like, she's 29 at that point. She's and I know we've talked about the clock ticking and all of that. I get funny with people with no vision. It bothers me because I had that issue in the past with dating.
I think it'd be kind of hard though to have a vision if your whole adult life you've been in the military. Because it's not, you're not being like, you're not experiencing real life. It's a very sheltered and like demanding, structured lifestyle where like what he is right now is he's a well-groomed man who can commit and do hard work. And so I think with that, if you take that and him finding his passion or his purpose, which he will do once he gets into the real world, I think because of his training and his experiences thus far, I think he would be a fine, you know, future fiance and or husband if he treats her, like she said, all the things that essentially you want out of a relationship.
He treats her really well.
He's doing that for her.
There are some.
Now,
it's tough, but I just want my good sister.
I want to also kind of
right,
be on Bree's same page with this, because I'm going to give an example of myself. So many of you already know my husband is a doctor. So obviously he's a very ambitious man. He's been through 12 years of schooling, professional schooling, just to be able to get to where he is. And he is the LeBron James at what he does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shame.
So, however, here comes his wife. Now, my career thus far I've been a consultant, a financial consultant. And while I have been very successful at what I do, I absolutely hated it. So recently, my husband and I had a conversation, and my husband has known how miserable I've been in my career. It's very demanding. I work crazy hours, and I don't feel like at times I'm properly compensated for it. Like, I think that a lot of consultants should be getting paid way more, even though they already get paid a lot, but the hours that we be working is ridiculous. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. My husband knows my frustration around it and how I've been unhappy because I don't really care for what I do, even though I'm good at it. So there was a moment recently where I was super burnt out. I'm trying to be the best I can at work. I'm managing multiple engagements. I'm managing multiple junior consultants. And I'm also having to manage my household, be a great wife, be a good friend, be a good daughter, be a good mother to a toddler. It was a lot. I was very overwhelmed. So recently I quit my job, which I'm very proud of that for myself, because I've been in this career for 12 years and I probably should have left maybe 8 years ago. So, but sometimes you get comfortable because you're continuing to get promoted, the money's getting good, you're getting more, whatever. But I was just so miserable that I needed to quit my job. Now, I talk about this with Bree quite often. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. You know, like there's times where I just like, I'm like, I don't know. I need to explore and try different things because I've been doing the same thing for 12 years. I don't know yet what I'm good at. Like what I'm truly passionate about and good at. So I was given the green light by my husband to go ahead and quit my job. Now, granted, I want to caveat this. I do have another opportunity lined up. I'm not just out here quitting my job and, you know, like now I'm just gonna like figure it out. Like, no, I have another opportunity lined up that actually is another promotion for me. And I'm not saying that's going to be less stressful because I actually think it's going to be more stressful. But luckily, it's a contract that has a start and an end date. But that opportunity is not for another month to 6 weeks. So I have given myself a month or to like between 4 to 6 weeks to be able to learn new skills, try something new, shadow somebody, just research different industries, different things that might interest me. And kind of dive deep into that so that I can actually start to try new things, fail at new things, just to be able to get some idea and some clarity of where I actually want to go moving forward. So I say all this to say to our friend who wrote into us is like, what Bree said about how can you say that this man's not ambitious when he's been in this dynamic where it's very structured, like you're being told what to do and how to do it, what to wear and how to wear it. He's never had an opportunity to kind of think freely maybe in his career or in his life until, you know, whenever he decides to actually leave. So, you know, giving someone the grace to have a timeline of exploration, I also think is really important. And I'm just now in a space that I'm really valuing that because I'm realizing it for myself. And so I think that when you have a situation like this where it may come across like he's not ambitious to you, maybe he doesn't know where his ambitions lie or like what bring out his ambitions. Yeah. And maybe you don't either. You've only known him for 3 months.
That was why I started off my kind of spiel with is 3 months too early. And then also take into account that he probably, their dating probably hasn't looked like how you dated Dre or how I dated Sean or how you dated Shane. Yeah. So it's probably less time. So cut that in half. So I'm trying to go back to when Sean and I were like a month and a half in. What were we doing? We were having fun and partying and sexing. So not sexing. So
I love it.
Yeah, I don't think it really like got deep and like, oh, like let's talk about life goals until about 3 months. So I do want to give him that grace. I do, because if he's treating you good, sis, the market out here is looking real rough and real raggedy from
what I hear. It's slim pickings.
It's slim pickings. So I don't want you to let go of it, but I do think there needs to be some type of like timeline for her on this.
Well, I think even right now, I think something that can give her clarity about whether or not the relationship is worth being in is like, he doesn't have to have a vision for his whole career and ultimately what he wants to do in life, but is his vision for his life as a whole the same as yours?
Is it aligned?
Do you both want kids? Does he want to be married? Does he have an idea of even just something, the difference between like if he wants to start a business and be like an entrepreneur, or if he at least knows that there's like a certain lane that he wants to go into, or if he's like a 9-to-5 type of guy, or he wants to work remote, if he wants to travel, like he doesn't have to have the end all vision to at least still have a vision overall for his life. So if you don't know the answers to whether or not he wants children, if you've had these conversations and you haven't gotten clarity because he's just like, then that's way different. You know what I mean? Like if he's doing this, if he's, you put in the corner, if he's shrugging, if he gets like, no, then no, that's not okay. But give the man grace. He shouldn't know what he wants to be. Good guy for the rest of his life when he's leaving such a big transitional life change like the military. So
and I think that's a really good point. Like, because when you ask about vision of life, not necessarily vision of finances and making money. If you know you guys want to have kids and have a home and attain certain goals in life, you obviously know with that there's costs, and with costs you need to make money. So that's gonna come eventually, if you guys are on the same page of your on your goals. And now that my memory is jogging, that was one of the first conversations Sean and I had. We wanted to buy a house, we wanted to have generational wealth, and we wanted to raise children. That was one of our first conversations. Cool. So how we about to do that? That was the next conversation. And Sean, like you, he doesn't necessarily love project management. His dream is fitness. But at the same time, fitness doesn't give us enough financial freedom for him to quit project management. So he's doing both. So, and he doesn't want to do that, but because of our vision, he's sticking with something he doesn't necessarily like to do right now. So I really think that's awesome that you and Shane, can do that. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel, I also recognize that I'm in a very privileged position because a lot of people, but I'll just speak to women, they may not get these opportunities, right. Not everyone is in the financial position to just be able to quit their job and just try different things and look up stuff that they might be interested in, do some research or get a new certification or learn a new skill for 6 weeks and be good. Yeah. I'm acutely aware that I am privileged in that, and so I feel very grateful to be in this position. However, if you are with someone and they are at a point in their life where they're I have a homie who is a real estate consultant. And he told me what he does, but it's really nitty gritty. It's not he doesn't sell houses or anything like that. He does nitty gritty and analytics for commercial real estate and stuff like that. And he makes fantastic money, great money. And he's a handsome guy, super funny. But he's over what he's doing. He feels like he's reached his limit of excitement or joy within his career, and he wants to go on and do something else. So, when people get to that, my brother was the same way. He used to be in fashion. It was no longer serving him, so he quit. He went to business school, and now he's in tech. So I think that a lot of people get into, especially around the 28. I think between 28 and 35, you're still very much so trying to navigate life and figure out who you want to be, how you want to live your life, what do you want it to look like, what skill sets do you not yet possess that you need to learn in order to get you to that stage that you ultimately want to be at. And just because you don't possess those skill sets now doesn't mean that you lack ambition or that you're lazy. It just means that you have to do some necessary research and also some self-development probably, and then have hard conversations within yourself to be able to navigate that and figure those things out.
But what did you just say? You said ultimate goal. And I think that's what Bree is telling our good teacher sis to do with Military Man. What are your ultimate goals, sir? So I feel if she could get that out of him, not necessarily what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want your career? Then she could see there could be a shared vision. Yeah. Does he want kids? Does he want to have a home? Where does he want to live? What does that look like? Do you want to have business?
And even I know he's leaving the military, but does he ever plan on going back? For her, do you want to date a man who is in the military? He's getting out, but he could very well go back.
Or become a reservist. Do it part-time.
Yeah. So those are things for sure to know. And I think the easiest way to do something like that and have those conversations that aren't so pretty and fun and light is to make a cute date night out of it. Do something that could be a conversation starter. Me and Dre's next date night, I'm doing a tasting because I've been getting, I'm super passionate about cooking right now, cooking healthy, yummy foods. And I'm like, I finally have more time on my plate where like I can actually cook every day, and like it like makes me excited to like stop my day and just pause and like put on some music and just like cut up veggies. And so the next date that I came up with was like a tasting. I was like, I'm gonna take like chicken breast, for example, and cook it like 8 different ways, and it's just gonna be like small little tastings where we'll look at what all the ingredients is and like what that was, and then he can let me know which ones he really likes so that I can start cooking those for him, because
I love
we're
that.
trying to eat healthier.
Cute idea.
So same thing like rice, like 5 different ways to prepare rice, different herbs, different seasonings to figure out like what our taste buds love. And so you could do something like that where you just do like a home cooked meal, and you just have like you can create your own cards, not like a typical card game, but like your own cards of things that you want to talk about, and just put them on the cards, and then just be like, I just had like a few fun things that like I thought we could like talk about, but in order to make it fun, like I made us like these cocktails and some food, and you could do something cute at home, or you could go to me and Dre's favorite thing when we're talking about vision, future stuff, is we'll go to a fancy restaurant where it's just like great customer service, and like where we know the food is great, the vibe is great, and we can stay there for 4 to 5 hours and just drink and talk about our future, and we'll put like notes and stuff in our phones. And so you have to find something that is going to bring you guys closer together and connect you, which food is usually one of those things. And then it needs to be a space that is like supportive of having conversation. And then you always, beverages help people
loosen up
and
a
just
little bit.
have more
Safely,
convo
please.
and make it fun. So find a fun way. Don't just call him or text him and be like, hey, so I really need to know your ultimate vision.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
That's gonna scare him away. And it's like, golly. So do something fun, and just make sure that he's aware that you just want to make sure you guys are on the same page with what you want, because you're intentionally dating to find a husband, not to just be out here boo loving military.
That's a good question. Are you intentionally dating to find a wife, sir?
Yeah.
Military man?
Yeah.
A military man.
You know,
are you
I-
here for a wife or not? That would have been my question.
Shout out! I just realized I have camo on too.
Cute.
Oh wait, no, wrong flag.
I to piggyback off of what Bree just mentioned about like cute date night, also because you guys are still so early on in your relationship, another cute idea to learn each other more, obviously in ways not just about ambition and goals and stuff, but more intimate ways too. Bree, Angela, and I have all done this with our husbands, and we absolutely love it. Angela literally just went a few weeks ago, is we do like a cabin retreat, with just us and our husband, nobody else, ain't no kids around, clients aren't calling on the phone, and if they do, we're not answering because we're out of office.
Restaurants around.
It's almost kind of like you go to a cabin and it's just you guys. Yeah. You guys are intimate with each other. You have time to connect with each other. You have time to talk about anything and everything you want to talk about. Yeah. And this is also a good opportunity to have those foundational conversations, right? And in those foundational conversations, along with marriage and kids and expectations and life goals and like vision for future life, this is a good opportunity for him to be in a safe space and for you to kind of, in a polite, cute way, like kind of like pry on, so what are you thinking? Like let's have a conversation about it. Create something cute, like have Bree's cute little note card idea with create make a good meal or whatever, make a game out of it. Do something like that so that you guys can not only connect in a number of different ways intimately, but you can ultimately get a little bit more clarity coming out of it about where you see yourself with him going forward. Yeah. Do you guys really align in what you want out of life, and are you truly equally yoked?
Yeah, the beginning is so fiery and it's so
easy. I love it. Don't you just
really
love
like,
a good
it's so and I'm like, my memory is going right now. I literally remember the very first time Sean and I had one of these conversations, and it was about maybe 2 months in, after the drinking and the fun and the sex and kind of
the sex, and I don't know why that gets me.
That's what we were doing. Anyways, but it was a night and we were out and we were drinking and we were on H Street in DC. So if you guys aren't from DC, it's like a cute little bar stretch.
Yeah.
And we were at this place called Dangerously Delicious Pies, and wasn't expensive. Don't close till like 3. We were in there till they closed, just talking about life. And Sean will reference this conversation as one of his best dates, because he thinks that's the moment where he knew, like, I was gonna be something more than just sexing.
Yeah.
So I mean, but it felt so good because we're so new, and the fire and the fun and this could be something. So try to set it up in that kind of way. And if it's given,
I'll pull it out too, girl.
yeah, if given, let's go get another drink, then yeah, I would red flag that.
And
for
have
sure.
fun and move along.
Yeah, because you are definitely in the season of you've made you a priority, and it's time to find a man who's trying to be on that same path, because goals, there's things that come with goals, and one of those is finances and how you're going to get there. So I wouldn't be too worried about how he's going to make money. I'd be worried about, are you guys aligned in the vision? And you have to figure out the vision first. So try to set it up, get it cute, make it fun so you can get it out of him. I want to know. I want you to respond back too. How did it go?
Military man.
How did military man do with his fun open date? So yeah, but because he treats you well and he's a really good guy, don't just write it off quite yet. Yeah.
Which brings us to our last question. Can you inspire or motivate a man to have ambition and want a vision for his life? Or is it something that you can't teach, that the man just has to have?
I'm not good at this question because I'm going to say no.
Well, you started.
I mean,
go ahead, Angela.
I mean, that's just from my experience, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think you can expose him. I think you can motivate him. I think that's what I did for my husband, and that's what he did for me. But before we met, we both had our own ideas and vision of what we wanted. Even if it looked totally different. Like back then I was gonna be a principal, I was gonna have my own school, I wanted to be a superintendent, get my PhD, girl. I don't want none of that now. I'm sorry. Once you become a teacher, you realize you don't want to have your own school. I've gone on a totally different path, and so has he. Who would have known he would be doing bodybuilding competitions and things of that nature? No, nobody knew. However, one thing that I do know Sean had in comparison to previous men I dated was that innate ability to go do something, just ambition. Or if he didn't know, he was going to figure it out. Like it just, I don't know how to explain it. He didn't want to just be stagnant. He didn't want to be like, I don't know. Like, and I don't know if it's because he had a kid and that made a difference. Like I can't be out here, I don't know him. So, and it was just something about it that was so different from the men that I had dated before, that I felt like, ugh. And I had met other ambitious men, but some of them was doing too much. Like, so he was like that healthy balance of, he had something within him already. So that's why when you give me that question, can you inspire a man to have ambition? Or what was it exactly, inspire a man to?
It says, can you inspire a man to have ambition and vision, or is that something he needs to already have?
I just say no. I'm not a good one with this.
Well, I think vision and ambition are very different.
That's true.
I think that ambition, if you're not exposed to the right things and the right people, your mind is very limited to what you can do, what you can become, and what your life could look like. So I think that you absolutely can inspire and encourage a man to have a different level of ambition if they see you and people around them doing things that they've never seen before. And a good example of that is, the simpleness of how many people do we know that have quit their jobs and gone full time into doing something that they love to do because of them seeing other people do it and do it successfully. The first time that we've started to see that I don't think that that's people having a lack of ambition. I think it's people having a lack of understanding, knowledge, experience,
Cece was saying.
and proof that, oh, it's possible. Now, vision is more of a man ultimately knowing what he wants in life and what he wants for himself, and whether or not he wants like a family, and like how he just wants to live his life. And I think that if a man doesn't have vision, then he either one is a very go with the flow, take every day as it is, and is in a situation where there's really no end goal. So like sometimes the military could be something like that. If you're like, I'm just doing this until I figure out what I want to do, then maybe they're not thinking long-term vision career-wise, but you should still have that overall vision. If someone just says completely, I have no idea, like I don't think it's possible to not have any sort of vision, right? Because if you ask someone simple questions, do you want to own a home one day? They're either going to say yes or no, and they're going to have a reason why. Do you want to have kids? They're going to say yes or no and a reason why. I don't think anyone would just be like, oh, no, I don't know. So I feel like you absolutely, everybody has a vision. Maybe they're not comfortable communicating their vision, and maybe therefore that could turn into lack of ambition. But ultimately, when I was dating and I met Dre and he had like a typical 9-to-5 job, I remember thinking to myself like, I really like this guy, but like I always imagined myself being with like another like business owner, someone else who like had the freedom and flexibility to just like do whatever, whenever. But then I realized in order to have that, you also want stability, and stability comes from someone who's responsible. Therefore, it made sense why when I met Dre, he had a 9-to-5 job, because he didn't necessarily know what he ultimately wanted to do. And his exposure to me and the types of things that we started to do as a couple when we started our business, now he took that and ran with it and completely has his own thing. And now if I met him who he was today, I would absolutely be like, that's the type of person career-wise that I would want to be with. But had I have shut him down because he worked a typical 9-to-5 job, we wouldn't be where we are today. So I do think it's important that you remember that growing with somebody is so much more beautiful and valuable than just growing alone. And when you grow with the right person, that person's vision, ambitions, motivations, all of those things can change and get better and better the more that they're exposed, the more that they've trialed and erred. It just takes time. So I mean, I don't know. I think that for me, I don't have a yes or no answer to that question, because I think it's a very complex and deep question.
I have a no to if he doesn't have vision.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. No to if you don't have vision. I think you can inspire someone to be the best that they can be. So that's my answer.
Cece?
So for me, I think that vision is something that you should expect to change. So to say that someone doesn't have a vision seems kind of harsh, because I think everyone hopefully maybe has some vision, and just because it doesn't align with your vision, it doesn't mean that they don't have one. So there's that. I think that vision is something that can be, I don't want to say taught, but that can be expanded on based off of new experiences and new ideas that you bring to someone, because maybe they just don't know to think that big, because no one around them has ever thought that big before. So, but on the other side, regarding ambition, I do believe ambition is something that you're just innately born with. Now, and people's ambitions differ greatly, obviously, but an ambition, I don't think you can teach someone to become an ambitious person if all they want to do, like in their core, is just sit around and play video games all day.
Oh, God.
You feel me?
So it's almost like even more of like a work ethic thing.
Yeah.
Like if you have a 9-to-5 job, right, you have three types of people: the person who's going to show up and do the bare minimum, the person who's going to show up and do a good job, and the person who's going to show up and go above and beyond.
Right. And those three people probably have the same opportunities, probably have access to the same trainings, have access to the same leadership. But the difference is the the manager or director of that organization went out and sought out new opportunities for trainings, new educational opportunities, went out and networked with other partners of that firm so that they can get themselves ahead. That's ambition. The other person who just comes and does the bare minimum, they're doing that just so that they can get a check so that they can fund more video games. I don't know.
More video games.
Like, so there's a difference, right? Because people are given similar opportunities. We all have the same amount of time in a day, but someone who's more ambitious is going to spend their time a little bit differently than someone who has a different type of ambition. So I think that when we're talking about ambition, that's something that comes from within. Now, I do think that your ambition, if you already have even just a little bit, it can be revved up. And
I think like if your ambition is tied to like if your passion, like it's hard for you to be ambitious if you don't necessarily know what you want to do.
Right.
But once you tap into what you know you want to do, that's when the ambition can take like a whole
100%.
Yeah, I like that.
Once you start having different experiences, your ambitions can change drastically. Sometimes your ambitions will decrease because you feel like because you might be in a situation that's not truly nurturing what you're actually good at. Like there's times in my career where my ambitions, and I'm a very ambitious person, but my ambitions were just kind of like, I don't know, they were just because I felt like I wasn't being creative in my career. I felt like I had kind of hit a glass ceiling, or my environment wasn't productive to my growth and my own interests. Someone else who likes working in finance and just wants to take it to the highest level that they can go, their ambitions are going to look different from mine. But it doesn't mean that I'm not an ambitious person just because I'm not thriving in that environment. I think that when you put someone in an environment that's truly meant for them, or that excites them, that interests them, that makes them feel creative in their own way, their ambitions are going to look totally different. So I think maybe for our military man, maybe he's not that ambitious about the military. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these guys go into the military because they're trying to escape maybe their environment that they came from because they didn't have any other options. Yeah. So the military was their option. If that's his background, he doesn't know to think big, to dream big. He doesn't know the opportunities and the possibilities that could be for him out of life because he's only been here. And now that he's meeting you and you're here, you got to help him, or at least give him the grace to be able to come up and meet you based off of just exposing his mindset to different and better things.
Especially if he's a really good guy.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. You don't know what you're interested in unless you go out and try it. Fail a few times, experience new things. And then I'm telling you, if you just do that, see how your ambitions can grow and what they can flourish into. When you're in a productive environment.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I think
Hopefully
we answered that well.
you.
Oh, well,
I'm hoping for military man to get it right. That's what I want
me
for
too.
my good sis teacher.
Listen,
here.
girl, if he's a good man, I mean, hold on to him for at least a few months.
Yeah.
Like, let him get out of his current environment. See how he does. Expose him to new things. And if he still ain't cutting it, then it might be time.
Yeah.
So follow up with us in 3 months and let us know.
Let us know how we're feeling.
Go away. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you go to relationshiprestore.com for the girls and fill out the Help a Girl Out form if you have a scenario or situation that you want us to give some advice on. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Cece Costin, at Angela Hanna, and at Brianna Aponte. And don't forget to go to the podcast and leave a review so you can be featured on an upcoming episode. Yes. Until next time.
See ya.
Bye, girls.